As you can see, the crowds have turned out in their hundreds to meet Yanya and get some photos, but she's not competing tonight. 6 men and 6 women are, and we're going to start with the men's boulder final. So finals time, one last chance for the athletes to get medals. There were 2 South Korean superstars in the men's final, young gun Do-hyun Lee and veteran Jung-won Chon, looking to set the crowd on fire. Boulder 1 was a tough start for the climbers. Small dishes and powerful moves on a steep wall. Jung-won Chon didn't manage to send it, struggling with a slippy foot, and that was the same for others. Foot pops and falls for many. Do-hyun Lee, however, did manage the climb. The first one out and showing his intention early on, clawing his way to the top. Great Britain's Max Milne also did it a little quicker, getting a flash. Boulder 2 turned the power up a notch. A tricky start on the big tuna holds and shoulder moves to get a zone hold. It frustrated a few, including Team Japan, as Meiichi Narasaki and Sota Amagasa only got zones. Max Milne came close, 2 hands on the final hold, but the wrong part of it. Do-hyun Lee found an incredible flash, putting him ahead. A slab awaited the athletes on Boulder 3. Micro holds, meaning the athletes needed perfect footwork and strong fingers. Do-hyun Lee came closest, but even he couldn't find a top. After that, despite multiple attempts, no one could unlock the tricky climb. It all came down to the last boulder. Coordination, electric power, style. There was meant to be a mantle move at the top, but most tried something different. Jung-won Chon giving it everything and getting one hand on that last hold. Great Britain's Diane Akhtar came close to getting his first top of the round, but had to settle for a zone. Bronze went to Japan's Sota Amagasa. No tops in the finals, but a flash of the last zone was enough for a medal. He could have secured the gold medal on his attempt, but Do-hyun Lee struggled to figure out that last sequence, falling and leaving the door open for Max. All eyes were on the Brit, and he needed a quick top, but slipped. His next go saw him get the top, but it was too late. And after a few moments of indecision, Do-hyun Lee was given gold at his home World Cup. What a competition, and we saw lots of different styles of boulders. And yesterday we caught up with one of our route setters to talk more about a style, power electric. What's that? I'm here with Max, one of the setters on the team. Now, Max, I know the boulders are usually separated into guidelines of the type of boulders they are, and one of them is power electric. And I'll be honest, I've got no idea what power electric really means. Could you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, so I think it came about originally with the two-zone Olympic format, where the 4 boulders were very specifically 4 different styles, and electric was this sort of combo between power and coordination. So it's sort of what you might consider dynamic power, where it's not a full-on coordination move, but you've still got to move quickly.
So does that mean it's a cordo move I always see is quite flowy, you know, like the athletes aren't stopping a lot. So is electric more stop-start?
I think on paper, coordination is if you do more than 3 things, it's a coordination move. If you do up to 3 things, it's an electric move. It's always a little bit flexible, and you sort of get what you get.
Okay, but when you're thinking about a boulder, when you have in your head, right, power electric, what kind of holds are you looking for? What kind of movements are you trying to create?
You're probably looking for more slopey, open-handed holds that will force the athletes to give them a bit less control, so they have to move quickly. So that maybe the positions are stable, but the holds, each move is you've got to move quickly because it's not in control.
Okay, so the boulder behind us, I know this might change a little bit from what you guys have just seen, but this is meant to be a power electric boulder, right? So talk me through the principle of it.
So it's sort of the power electric move, if you will, is from this big green undercut, you're going to go 1-2 out to the 2 white hands. But then I've tried to keep it fairly dynamic and quick around that, so a little jump on for the first move just to get them into it quickly, and then I think the last move will be quite fast as well.
And obviously, I know it's tricky because whenever we talk with route setters, we find out the ideal beater and then the athletes inevitably do something completely different, which must be annoying but at the same time fascinating, I guess, because, you know, they're doing things that you aren't expecting them to do.
Yeah, I think often some of the best moments in comps are when athletes do things totally wrong. And we've obviously climbed the boulder a lot, and we know the ideal sequence and maybe the easiest sequence, but it's not always the sequence the athletes want to do. Sometimes they want to feel more comfortable, so they do it a harder way that makes them feel in more control.
Well, look, I love that you tell me stuff like this, because for me as a commentator it allows me to give feedback to the audience, but do remember the athletes do crazy things and what they do isn't always expected, and that is what makes our sport so cool. The women's turn, and the night brought cold conditions perfect for the climbers. France's Agathe Calais tried the start with the intended jump, but couldn't get the zone. While Annie Sanders got the top, using a unique static method down low and continued to send the boulder. GB's Erin McNeice also climbed it in 3 attempts. Natalia Grossman, Zelia Avizu and Miho Nanaka kept their nerves and also got tops. Boulder 2 had a paddle jump at the top, and again we saw multiple methods used. Miho Nanaka launched away across, stopping on the penultimate hold and was delighted. That stop was repeated by Erin McNeice and Natalia Grossman, keeping things tight at the top of the order. Putting on a masterclass on the bottom moves was France's Zelia Avizu. It took her just 2 goes to figure out the problem, and the podium places changed around once more. It was slab time on Boulder 3, with the last move that most attempted in a dynamic way, trying to find friction on a giant blue volume. Zones for all, but Annie Sanders found something special once again, mantling her way to the top in a shoulder-aching move to get the last crimp. Zelia Avezou had more of a pop to her top, but the result was the same. So once again, the final climb would be the decider. It was a brutal boulder, wrestling with a twofer-like hold halfway through. Agathe couldn't get her first Boulder Finals top, but she'll take confidence with her performance for the future. Miho Nanaka had a chance for bronze, but eventually had to settle for 5th. Natalia Grossman, who had been struggling with a shoulder tweak, could only get the zone, putting her in 4th. So podium finishers and PBs for the top 3. Erin McNeese had the shoulder press and jump locked in. Her zone in 2 attempts, meaning a bronze medal. Zelia Avezou launched into the first move in a different style and flashed the zone, but no top and a silver medal for her. So taking gold was the USA's Annie Sanders. Even more magic and a wonderful flash of the climb, meaning she took her first ever gold medal. A big future ahead for her as she closes out the 2024 Boulder World Cup season on a high.